Hello, my lovelies. It's been a long time. I know, I'm sorry. Um, at first, really, it was, I'm getting ahead of myself. Welcome to Inside the Mind of Divine. Welcome back if this is not your first time here. Welcome for the first time if it is, and let's get into it, okay? It's been a minute, and honestly, at first it was because like we went on the cruise, and then when I came back, I had left my laptop charger, my microphone, and my tripod all in my mom's house in Vegas. And so, I wasn't really able to do much the way that I normally record the podcast. And unfortunately, my laptop charger has grown legs and walked away. So I'm also not using the microphone anymore until I can, make my laptop, because the microphone does not connect to my phone because it is a USB, not a Bluetooth. So I'm gonna have to figure something about that out. Sorry, y'all, messing with my hair now. I'll have to figure that out, but hopefully the audio with the phone itself is just fine. I know me and Isis on my other podcast with my roommate, we did have an episode where we didn't use the microphone. Well, we recorded it, but then things happened, and I don't remember if I posted that one or not, but we'll see. But today's episode is about imposter syndrome, and that is getting into the second reason why it's been a minute, okay? So let's start off with what is imposter syndrome. So by textbook definition, it is the condition of feeling anxious and not experiencing success internally, despite being high performing in external objective ways. So I have really terrible imposter syndrome, and that was keeping me from making this episode because I had this really strong belief that I should not be talking to you guys about things if I'm not practicing it or if I'm not successful in it, right? But that is the whole reason why I should. I got lost in the whole goal of this season, because the whole goal of this season was for me to go through my healing journey with you all, not go through it and think I have all the answers, especially because your healing journey never stops, as I've said so many different times. So it was ridiculous of me to think that y'all would think anything of it if this is something I'm still struggling with. And I realized that a lot of creators, especially like some of my favorite creators, they don't one of my favorite creators, I've noticed she doesn't really share the hardships of her life or her healing journey. Like, she'll briefly mention it, but she won't really go into any kind of detail of if that was hard for her or anything. Like, she's just like, oh yeah, this is hard sometimes, but then she just only talks about the good parts, and that's okay. But I discovered another creator. I'm sorry, y'all, I keep touching myself, but pause. I keep adjusting, one, because these eyelashes seem like they're about to fall in my eye, and that's really it. But this other creator that I was watching, she goes through everything with you. Like, she'll tell you, hey, today I'm not really here for it, or like right now I'm in a rough moment in my life. And I appreciate that a lot more than just hearing about the good parts of everything, because everything isn't always good. Your healing journey is an up and down journey. You can end up backtracking. You can end up going through the wrong path. You never know. Everything about your healing journey is the fact that you tried. And that's the most important part. Instead of you going back to the ways that you always do, and if you do slip up, you recognize that slip up and you try again. And that is the most important part. So for me to have, stopped making these, because I felt like I have a structure to where this season has to go. And because I felt like I had not conquered my imposter syndrome, I felt like I could not make this video. I have imposter syndrome not only with my podcast and the things that I, share on here, but I also have imposter syndrome with like my degree and the qualifications. I was I really qualified to have it. I have imposter syndrome when it comes to I just crossed in my sorority as well, and so like with that I had imposter syndrome for a little bit as well. My best friend did help me get over the imposter syndrome for that though, so it's okay. But I just have imposter syndrome a lot, and I've noticed where it stemmed from. And so hopefully I can work through this past wound and figure out how I can let it go. So like earlier, I was watching Alexis as always, and she was talking about how we can't really get into ourselves because we have other people, we envision other people sitting in the audience. And so we're always self-conscious. And when you're too self-conscious, you don't know how to live for yourself. And then she asked the question, ask yourself why this is. What initially caused you to start running and hiding and being so self-conscious? And I realized that where all of this comes from is all the way back in the 6th grade, which is crazy. I've never forgot this statement that this girl said to me, and it has caused me to always pay attention to what everybody else thinks about me since then. But she just one day blurted out, and we're in the middle of a conversation. These people are talking to me, the rest of the people are talking to me, we're having a good time, so I thought. And she just goes, "You're like the little sister that nobody wants around, but your mom said they had to go." And I'm like, especially as the oldest child, I don't even know what that feels like. I don't even know what that feels like. I never had that problems. I don't have no sisters. I only have brothers, and my brothers are very much younger than me. So at that time, I didn't even know what she was talking about. I was like, dang. And so, all I had was the ideas of that on Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and stuff like that, which I would never let my kids watch because I realized a lot of those kind of TV shows really and because I used to watch all kinds of TV, it is really detrimental to a lot of things. Like it makes you self-conscious and everything because it gives you the preconception that you're going to go to school and get bullied immediately and you need to care about what everybody else thinks. And I think that's the kind of message that those shows on those channels give. So I'm gonna have to make my own cartoons for my kids or something because I don't want them watching that. I don't. But she said that to me and it stuck with me my whole life. To this day, I'm 22 years old. She said that to me when I was 12. 10 years later, and that sentence still sticks with me, and it makes me so self-conscious in front of everybody, which feeds my imposter syndrome because now everybody thinks, like nobody knows my GPA unless I don't tell them. So I have a degree and that's all they know. And if I were to tell them, my GPA was bad, and they think something, like they wouldn't know that, but in my head, everybody knows what my GPA was and they don't think I deserve it. And I look like a fraud, like I don't deserve this degree, right? Or with the podcast, like I said, you do slip up with something. So then I'm thinking, people are listening to my podcast and then they see me slip up and they see me do this. And now they're not going to listen anymore and they're going to think that I'm full of shit. And that's not the case because as I continue to say in these, you slip up and that's okay. You slip up. It is what it is. But for the most part, I practice what I preach, or at least I try until I get it right. You feel me? I do what I can to make sure. And even if you do see me do something opposite of what I'm saying here, these are things that I'm learning from other people and I'm trying to learn myself. So you might see me slip up, or you might see this as a difficult lesson for me to learn, but that doesn't mean that it's bullshit. Because most of the things I'm saying here don't even come from my own opinion. It's just things that I've been watching and learning and trying to work into my own life. So it's not bullshit, like that's like me quoting, I quote a book, but because I don't practice whatever the book quoted, y'all say, this book is bullshit. That has nothing to do with me. Don't base your opinions of things based off of what somebody said. Like, base your opinions off of what somebody says just off of what they say, instead of going, although they said to clap for these people. They're not clapping, so they're full of shit, and I'm not gonna clap either. No. Don't do that. Make your own judgments. It's very, very important. But yeah, this is why I lag on the podcast, because I feel like I'm not in a space to talk about the topic, and I don't believe in pulling out bull. I did make this episode on time. I recorded this episode twice, actually, and I recorded it on time. The first time I recorded it, it paused and everything got deleted. So I was like, you know what? Maybe it wasn't meant to be. I didn't really like what I was saying in the first place. And then the second time I recorded it, I just felt like I was going in circles because I didn't know what to talk about, because I was trying to put on a facade that I've already conquered this feeling, and I have not. And I'm slowly starting to get through it, but this is a difficult feeling to get over. Imposter syndrome is a difficult thing to get over. It is not easy, because especially when you have grown up caring so much about what other people think. And because it's not easy to just stop. As much as people be like, well, why do you care about what other people think? Stop doing that. It's not as easy as it is said. It's not easy to do, as easy as it is to say. You know what I mean? And when you don't have a background in only caring about what you think, like when you didn't grow up in a space where you could not care about what other people say or think, then it's harder to get out of that when you're an adult. And my parents would tell me that all the time, but it's harder when you've got family members always telling you, you need to do this because this person's coming here. You need to do this because we're going here, and you need to make sure you look like this. You don't want them to think this. Oh, you can't be doing this outside because then they're going to think this of your parents and your grandparents and this and that. It's a lot. Like that does not breed, oh, let me come out and be me. That breeds, I need to be self-conscious because all these people have opinions of me, and then they're going to have opinions of my parents, and then they're going to have opinions of my brothers, and then they're going to have opinions of my grandparents and my uncles and my aunties. That is a lot of pressure to put on a child to go out and try. And how do you teach a child to... I'm trying to stop using filler words, which is why there's so many pauses when I'm talking. But how do you teach a child to grow and only, to not think so hard about what other people think, to not care about what other people think about them? How do you teach a child to be themselves, but you also teach them to think about what everybody else is thinking? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't go at all. So I don't really believe in that whole, you need to be conscious of who's coming over. You need to be conscious of where you're going, and be who you are. To a certain extent, you should be conscious of where you're going. It's like you shouldn't show up to a 5-star restaurant for a business dinner in basketball shorts and a stained t-shirt. Like, to a certain extent, yes, you should care. But and as far as where it comes in for imposter syndrome and thinking you don't deserve to be where you are, you don't have to care about what other people are saying. Like, if that is how they feel, that's how they feel. But you're the one with the degree. You're the one with the position. You're the one with whatever it is that you're feeling that you don't deserve. You're the one that already has it. They don't have that, clearly. And that's why they're talking about it, because they don't have it. And they feel like they deserved it more than you. But if they did, they would have it. They don't. You do. So that's something that I try to continue to tell myself. Currently, I'm reading a book called The Mountain Is You. And it brought me to the awareness that my imposter syndrome stems from people convincing me that I wasn't worthy of the things I had. Also, because, when I was a child, my parents worked their ass off. They had me at very young ages, and never did I ever want or struggle for anything. My parents did exactly what they had to do to give me whatever I asked for. And so I was very blessed, and now my mom is making the kind of money where it's not a struggle to do it. But like, she doesn't have to tell me no. They don't have to tell me no. My parents don't have to tell me no. They will, because they don't have to do everything I ask, but they don't have to tell me no. And But before, when I was the only child, and still, even when we had like my first brother, it was still, they grinded to give me things. They struggled so I wouldn't know a struggle. And so I'm going to school with my new phone or my new AirPods or my new clothes, and everybody's telling me I'm not allowed to feel some kind of way. And that's even with extended family. They're telling me I'm not allowed to be depressed or sad or feel angry or anything like that because, oh, my parents can buy me things. So I shouldn't be going through anything. There's nothing I should be going through because my parents buy me things. That is so not true. It's so not true. Just because you have this life, like my life looks good on paper. Oh, I don't remember what I was watching yesterday, but somebody said this and I was like, that's the one right there. I was listening to the Balanced Black Girl podcast, and her guest star on there said, my life looked good on paper, but I was miserable. Because she had a man, she was in law school, she had all these achievements, she was in these clubs, and she was doing really good, but she was miserable. She was miserable. That was the most she's ever weighed, and all this other stuff. She was miserable. Then she quit law school and started living her life for herself, and that's when she got better. Just because somebody else thinks that your life looks good from the outside, that does not measure how you feel. It does not measure how you feel at all. So whenever I'm like sad or anything, or I'm trying to talk about deep things that happen to me and people or anything like that, and I'm feeling the imposter syndrome when I have anything like, oh, I have this, look at this that I have because my mom bought it. And it's because growing up, cousins, aunties, uncles, friends, peers, anybody around me that wasn't my parents, so jealous of me and just making me feel like I cannot be sad because my parents buy me things. You don't need to be sad. Your parents buy you stuff. Like, you have an iPhone. Why are you sad? What is that? That's probably why I'm sad. The iPhone itself. Social media is evil. That's probably why I'm sad. Like, something on there probably made me sad. I don't understand what this misconception of just because you have materialistic things means that you're not allowed to be sad. I think that is weird and odd. But other kids will ridicule you because your family has more than theirs do. And they'll make you feel like your struggles aren't real. And so then I get imposter syndrome because I don't know. I think that the things I go through aren't that serious because people have been telling me all my life that they're not that serious. So when I experienced domestic violence, I told myself that it wasn't that serious and there shouldn't have been a reason why that interrupted my schooling and I should have done better, and that's why I don't deserve this degree because it shouldn't have interrupted my schooling. Yes, it should have. That is a scary experience. And the fact that I even finished is something that I should be proud of. I should not be feeling like I don't deserve that because I finished. Most people would have dropped out after that. Especially with the other things that were going on in my life at that time. There was so many things going on in my life at that time and throughout college that, bro, in all honesty, I deserve this degree more than anybody because I stayed and finished with all of these things I was going through in life. I kept showing up. I showed up as much as I could, and I showed up enough to still get this paper telling me I did it. And that is so amazing. That is so amazing. So I'm not gonna cry on camera. That's not gonna happen. I don't even know why it's making me emotional. I don't really cry like that. That's crazy. But it's like that is something I should be so freaking proud of. I should not feel imposter syndrome for this degree. I should feel more than deserving because I pushed through everything and I showed up as much as I could. I did my best. Yes, maybe I could have done better, but I did what I could with what I had, the tools that I had to do it with. And that's amazing. And I cannot let nobody else take that from me. You cannot let nobody take that from you. Your accomplishments are deserving. that is why you accomplish them. God is not going to give you something that doesn't need to be in your life. You're not going to get anything useless. Everything is a lesson learned. And you will not achieve anything if it was not meant for you to achieve. That was meant for you. It's for you. It's yours. You would not be where you are if you weren't supposed to be. Everywhere you are is somewhere you're supposed to be. And when it's not, you quickly learn that and you remove yourself. But it still was where you're supposed to be because you were supposed to see that experience for yourself to even know that that's where you're not supposed to be. Not where you're supposed to be for long. It's just where you're supposed to be for that moment. But whatever you got, that is what you were supposed to have. That's a thing you were supposed to go through. That's an achievement that you were supposed to succeed in. And that is okay. That is wonderful. And I wish more people would understand that. And I wish that I understood that quicker in life. I really do. Because I'm impressive. Sorry. Like, I'm impressive. I am impressive. That is something you should tell you. You're impressive. Don't say, oh, but I could have done better. You did it, though. My degree don't say, oh, you got a bachelor's, but her GPA was low. No, it just says bachelor's degree. That's my degree. It's mine. And nobody can take that from me. I earned it. With every tear I shed throughout my college years, with every hardship I went through, with all the good times I went through, with all the tests I failed, whatever it is, I earned it every step of the way. I earned my degree and I am proud of myself, okay? To talk about how how to really get over imposter syndrome which is really, I've already kind of been talking about it, but to really put it in a sentence, you're just supposed to redirect that guilt into motivation to do what you need to do to feel more deserving. So what I'm doing is, like, I don't feel worthy of my degree, right? So I made sure that I went and started doing things that made me use the degree. For instance, and I just thought about this right now, I didn't even think about this before. I'm just thinking about this right now. I'm using my degree talking to y'all. My podcast is a prime example of me using my degree. Some of these things I've gotten out of class. In my class notes, I learned these things. I'm using that here on my podcast. I'm trying to get big girl jobs that make me use my degree. Right now, I just passed the test for juvenile detention specialist. That makes me feel deserving of my degree because now I have a job that says so. And I'm going to do everything I can to utilize my degree in that job that says I deserve to be here. If I just sat on my ass and my degree's just hanging up in the room and I'm not using it, okay, maybe I don't deserve it because somebody else could have my spot in that school who was actually going to use the degree. I'm going to use it, and that will make me feel deserving. When it came to the imposter, I've only been here for a month in my sorority. And when it came to the imposter syndrome for that, I realized, I'm like, okay, I'm going to show up here. I'm showing up here. I'm showing up here. I make sure I show up because I do deserve to be there. When it came to imposter syndrome for this podcast, today I showed up. I deserve to be here. I deserve to be here. I have people who I haven't spoken to in 5+ years who have been listening to my podcast. And they were actually genuinely trying to figure out where I was because they enjoy listening to it. People enjoy listening to this. I'm making a difference and I deserve to do so. And that is okay. You have to turn that into motivation, which is what I did today. I realized since I'm still trying to conquer imposter syndrome, why not make the episode about imposter syndrome about that? That is how I turn that into motivation to make it here. And what really inspired me was I posted about it on my Finsta, and I didn't know that it posted on my Facebook as well until one of my sorors commented on it, and she was like, that's exactly why you should. make this video. That's exactly why you should make that video. And you're right. She was right. I had nothing to combat that with. I told her, you're right. And this is the reason why I didn't, but you're so right. Because that's why I should make this. This is me going through this healing journey with you guys. So everything isn't going to be all sunshine and rainbows. That's okay. But I should continue to make these on time and continue to show up for myself instead of making excuses for myself. Yeah. Or when I tell people I'm a gym girly and I'm an early morning girly, recently I've not been getting up early and I've not been going to the gym. I just started back yesterday, and today felt amazing. Because yesterday I went to the gym, but not until 9 a.m. Today I actually got up. I got to the gym at 4:50. I worked out early in the morning and it felt phenomenal. It was my first time in a Planet Fitness, and bro, go get you a Planet Fitness membership. Because they got these massage chairs. I'm telling you, I'd probably be way more sore right now if they didn't have the massage chairs. I'm just now slowly starting to feel yesterday's arm workout. So I'll tell y'all about how my glute workout feel tomorrow. Well, I mean, I won't tell you tomorrow, but I'll probably tell you next week or something. But for me to be telling everybody I'm a gym girly, but then I wasn't going, it made me feel like an imposter. But it's not that. I was going through something and I wasn't motivated, and I had to look inwards and say, you are a gym girly, so be that. Go. Use that as motivation. If you use your imposter syndrome as motivation to feel like you do deserve to be there. So if you don't feel like you deserve to be there, go do some things that make you feel like you do. Finally, I got it. This eyelash was just dangling in my eye. It was so frustrating. But if you don't feel like you deserve to be somewhere, go do something that makes you feel like you deserve to be there. So if you feel like you don't deserve to be in, if you feel like you don't deserve to be in a play that you're in, you don't deserve the role you have because you feel like this person with a lesser role has a better acting skills than you. Well, up your acting skills. Go practice. Make sure that you are giving this your all. Don't let it discourage you, because if you weren't supposed to be there, if the person who casted you did not see your potential, then you wouldn't be in that part. Everything you have achieved is for you. Own that. And that's all I have to say about imposter syndrome. Thank you guys so much for watching another video. I'm so sorry I disappeared. This season I should not disappear again this season. This should be perfectly fine. You get weekly. This is episode 8, and I think we have, how many more do we have? We have 22 episodes in this season. So you guys have, I can count. Let's count. If I added 2, that would get me to 10, and then 12, 14. We have 14 more episodes. So you guys are gonna see me for 14 more consecutive weeks. We're gonna take our little pause before season 5, and we'll be back in. Thank you guys so much. Do not forget to follow the podcast on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and wherever else you like to get your podcasts at Inside the Mind of Divine. And that is DIVINE. I've recently figured out that people don't know how to spell that my name. I don't know how. It's a real word in the dictionary, but it's okay. Yeah, everything, all platforms at Inside the Mind of Divine. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me about your experience with imposter syndrome, if you guys do experience imposter syndrome. Or you could just tell me, ask me any questions or anything that you would like to see in season 5, or if you would like me to add any kind of extra episode, like a bonus episode to this particular season, or if you would like me to make a TikTok on a topic, or it's just anything you need my opinion on, you can always email me at insidethemindofdivine@gmail.com, or you can also comment it under whatever you are watching. If you are watching on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please do not forget to leave a review. Reviews are very much appreciated. Thank you guys so much. And you guys have a wonderful weekend. It is not the weekend. It is Wednesday. Y'all have a wonderful week.